Lesslie Newbigin has rightly said, quote, incomparably, the most urgent missionary task for the next few decades is the mission to modernity. By modernity, he means the humanist religious vision that shapes Western culture. Continuing, he says, it calls for the use of sharp intellectual tools to probe behind the unquestioned assumptions of modernity and to uncover the hidden credo which supports them. A credo expresses the deepest religious beliefs that shape our culture. And he says these are hidden. They are like foundations of a house or like tectonic plates beneath the earth's surface. They are hidden, but powerfully support and form what is above and seen. The religious beliefs of our culture function like that. So what is the credo or the creed of Western culture? We can begin with Friedrich Nietzsche, that atheist that hated the Christian faith, and his famous parable, the madman. A madman lights a lantern and runs into the marketplace crying out, I seek God, I seek God. Because the people who hear him don't believe in God, they are amused and ask him if God has become lost. But the question is urgent. Where is God gone? I will tell you, he says, we have killed him, you and I. We are his murderers. And then begins a chilling soliloquy that probes the momentous consequences of murdering God. We have wiped out the horizon of history, so there is no story to give meaning to human life. The world is now growing colder and darker. God is dead, and we have killed him. The enormity of the act poses the ultimate question for the madman. Must we ourselves not become gods simply to be worthy of it? The speech of the madman is both brilliant and utterly chilling. And it opens the very heart of the religious creed of Western culture. The murder of God, for Nietzsche, took place in the 18th century Enlightenment, about a century and a half before he wrote his parable. God and the Christian faith had been virtually banished from the public square and relegated to the private realm. God had been murdered. We had wiped out the horizon of history, and there was no longer any goal to universal history, and thus no true story to give meaning to human life. And in spite of the fact that Europe named the 18th century the Enlightenment, the madman sees things differently. Things are now becoming darker. Most sobering is Nietzsche's contention that having murdered God, we must now become gods ourselves. What in the world does he mean by becoming gods ourselves? If there is no God, if there is no creator to give meaning to life or set down standards of right and wrong and good and evil and true and false, we ourselves must become the creator and assume his task. If there is no God, no ruler to give meaning to human history, we must create our own meaning and guide human history towards some goal of our own devising. And if there is no God, no Savior to save us from evil, we must become our own saviors. This is Nietzsche's brilliant analysis of the implications of the confessional humanism that is breaking in on the West. If God is dead, we must become gods. The deepest religious faith of the secular West is a confessional or secular humanism, the conviction that there is no God and there is no rule that stands above humanity. As autonomous beings, humanity can give meaning to human life and solve the problems of our world, especially through science and technology. Thus, we bring about, by our own efforts, a new world of freedom and material prosperity for all. There is a new goal for universal history that brings new meaning to human life. The notion of progress replaces providence, for it is humankind, not God, who now leads history towards a paradise crafted by human hands. Here we can discern a full-blown religious narrative, claiming to encompass all of life and promising ultimate fulfillment. The question arises, what makes it possible for humankind to do such godlike things? The answer given is simply human reason, under the discipline of the scientific method. This was their new path to salvation. Scientific rationality would enable humanity first to understand and then to control the non-human world through technology. Moreover, we could also bring order to the human world if we grasp the natural laws of economics, politics, education, and law, and then rationally organize our society on those bases. 18th century descriptions of this anticipated new world mirror Scripture's own portrayals of the new creation. Scientific reason and technology had explicitly taken on the role of a Messiah. What has happened to this story today? 3 things. First, there is a spirit that has been called postmodernity. This is simply the very powerful cultural current in our culture that says we don't believe the story of progress anymore. It has failed us. It is a spirit of disillusionment. We have not reached the freedom and material prosperity, the peace and the justice and happiness promised by the Enlightenment dream. And our institutions formed by reason have not delivered. Government, the economic system, the judiciary, the educational institutions, the press are all under attack. Indeed, as the madman says, the world is getting darker. But the same spirit seems contradictory and paradoxical. This modern story has survived, powerfully in fact, and morphed in 2 ways. First, it has been reduced to an economic story. We are not progressing towards freedom and justice and peace. That was a pipe dream. But we are progressing towards material prosperity and wealth. Economic modernity remains a powerful spirit. But the second, the story has become global. It is no longer a Western story, but we have spread the good news of economic prosperity throughout the earth. The third current is consumerism. We have now become a culture where the dominant vision guiding human life is a society structured around consumption. The consumption of goods, but more recently of experiences. And so we would answer the question as a culture, what is the chief end of human life? With the answer, a growing economy and the freedom to find the happiness in the consumption of goods and experiences. This story is failing in multiple ways, and many might join that great cultural prophet Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones who sang, "I can't get no satisfaction." This story has not brought the happiness and satisfaction that people expected. And there is much anxiety, injustice, hostility, division, disillusionment, anger, and disappointment in our world. It has even dehumanized us. Our idols have failed. What the Western culture needs is a people who offer a different way of life. And I will treat that in the next video.